Good afternoon and welcome to your weekly current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Erusa Agbolawa. Every week, every Thursday, we discuss topical issues affecting this wonderful country, Nigeria. And on today's edition of the program, we're looking at something that has become a trend, something that is unusual, but it ought not to be unusual. But the reason we call it unusual is that for many years we've not seen this trend, and that is the pivotal role of courts, Nigerian courts, in terms of democratic governance. Now, it's not a common thing for you to be told that the Inspector General of Police has been sentenced to 3 months imprisonment. It's not a common thing. Or for the EFCC chairman to be sentenced by a court in Nigeria to serve prison term. It's not a common thing. But under democratic governance, the rule of law takes precedence. Nobody is above the rule of law. But in Nigeria, the situation seems to be one that has been different. In other words, some persons are perceived to be above the law. But under the constitution of this wonderful country, especially the 1999 constitution as amended, the president has immunity. In other words, if a president is in office, he cannot be arraigned in court. He has immunity against prosecution. The governor of a state has immunity. But surprisingly, some very high-ranking public officers don't have immunity. If you take your mind back, the Senate president some years ago, Dr. Bukola Saraki, was in the news. He was able to come out of all the imbroglio and problems at that time. But he doesn't have immunity. You could remember the problem he had with the Inspector General of Police at that time. So, we are looking at the pivotal role of courts in a democratic setting as seen in Nigeria. We have a very distinguished personality who is a leader of congregations, a leader of persons. Dr. Elvis Agbolayima, nice to have you in the studio today.
Thanks for having me. Viewers, God bless you.
Now, my other guest, a legal practitioner, hopefully will join us in the course of this program, and then we'll be able to get his own thought as well. But we are going to allow you, this is the maiden edition of a feedback system, where we allow members of the public to call in to 60 Minutes Nigeria. It has never happened. This is the first time it's happening, and you can be the very first caller on the show. So the number with which you can join us to contribute to today's discussion will be displayed on your screen. 070 83 65 1320. I go over it again. 070 83 65 1320. So once it's time, we will inform you that you can call in and make your contribution to the discussion. So just recently, about 2-3 days ago, the Inspector General of Police was in the news. He was actually sentenced by a court of competent jurisdiction in Nigeria to 3 months imprisonment. Now, the IGP has responded because the social media platforms was awash with the news. The IGP has responded that that particular case, which involved the dismissal of a police officer, did not happen under his tenure, under the tenure of IGP Usman. And that the IGP also said that he's not even aware of such a case. and is not aware of the correspondence. So that was the defense of the IGP. The IGP said he's not that kind of person that does not obey the law. He's the number one enforcer of the law. So he has actually responded and he has cleared the air on that issue. But that does not take away the fact that there was a sentence. Nobody's above the law. And that's actually what we are looking at. We'll look at some other highly placed persons also affected, like the EFCC chairman who was also sentenced. He also quickly appealed and informed the public that he has appealed the judgment. Dr. Elvis Agolaima, nobody's above the law in Nigeria. What's your take on this?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm smiling because it's laughable that from your opening remark when you said the IG said he was not aware. That is for us to know how our leaders and the system, the level of collapsing, the level of how things has gone bad. Now, normally, like I quite agree that he was not then at that time when that issue happened. But there are other officers. He was in the system. If he says he doesn't know about the case, to me, he's not telling the truth. Because for you to be IG, you have been in the police force for many years. You have been in the police force for so many years. Therefore, there are a lot of things that happen. Because that case was almost like a public case. It was there. It was in public domain. And you have taken over as the IG. If we want to go by, I was not the IG at that time. I was not in charge. But now you are in charge. What did you do? Because if you say you were not aware, I will not believe that. I will not agree to that. Because you were in the system. And for your level at that time, you are aware. Just that, I'm so happy, and I believe a lot of Nigerians are happy, because the judiciary, as we are looking at it now, it's like God is answering, and we can see that God is using many of them now. Because many years ago, according to the Nigerian Constitution, the president, 4 offices, the president, the vice president of Nigeria, and the governor and the deputy governor, those 2 positions are the offices where they have immunities. But for over the years, if you look at the way our leaders have been operating, it looks as if majority of them have immunity. They can do anything. It looks as if many of our leaders are above the law. Above the law. That was almost a similar excuses that the EFCC chairman also used. That he was not aware, this and that. But you were in the system. You know this. You have people that give you feedback. It is either the people that give you feedback, or you just decided to let it go. And I'm happy the way the court, the way the judiciary are already, very active presently now, and is a good omen for us as Nigeria, and it's also an alert, a signal to all those who believe that they can do anything and go away with it. They believe that they are above the law. It's for them to know that the clock is turning. You get it now? Because if anybody will tell us that the IG, the number 1 man in Nigeria police force, we have such a judgment for him to go and relax himself in 3 months in jail, nobody will believe it will happen. But it has happened. Kudos to the judges and kudos to all those who are involved in it. It's a sign that the Nigeria we are improving, and the days coming is going to be better for us. And again, I think I just also a few hours ago, though I've not really got, I saw a headline that a very senior military officer, active in office, as the court too also signed a warrant of his arrest. And I say, wow, that means the judiciary, they are at it, and our prayer is being answered. God is really at it. He's using them. Because these things have never happened before. That's why you discover the level of the collapse of the system, because our leader, they used to tell us, politicians used to tell us that they are our servant, but it is no longer. If you read the Bible, it said slaves are riding on horses, while the servant are walking with barefoot. That is what Nigeria is experiencing. They will tell, yes, and they told us, that they are our slave. Like now, campaigns are going on now. A lot of them are saying, you are your slave, we are this. But in the true fact, in reality, it's not true. But thank God from the position of the court now, checkmating them, trying to interpret the law now. If this thing continue, I believe Nigeria will be great again.
Okay, now that's the opening remarks of Dr. Elvis Agbonahima, and very expository. But let me just give you the background again. I did initially, but let me just, for those of you just joining the program, Nigeria's Federal High Court sentenced the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, to 3 months in prison for flouting a 2011 court order. There was a court order asking the police to reinstate a police officer who was allegedly dismissed illegally. Illegal dismissal, or dismissal not in conformity with ethics of the profession. We understand that the Nigerian Police Commission actually agreed, but the man was never reinstated, and now 2011, but I don't think the delay is too much. 2011, and now we're talking about 2022.
For me,
a court order of 2011.
For me, I don't want us to look at the delay now. I want us to appreciate the effort of the judge presently, so that if we want to go by the delay, it might serve as a discouragement to others. Now, we should focus on the future now. We should be happy with what has happened now, so that others who are already, working to make sure that our law is, whether you are average Nigeria, whether you are a big man in the society, whether you are a leader, every one of us must obey the law. Nobody should be above the law. I think for me, looking at the time, we should just appreciate the effort of the judge for now. Okay.
So like I told you, another very high profile public officer, the FCC chairman, was also recently sentenced to a jail term. But he appealed, and because Nigerians were really awaiting the outcome of that verdict. That was the verdict that was first announced before that of the IGP about 2 days ago. The FCC chairman, the man that is #1 fighter against corruption, the man that ensures that corruption does not exist, will he obey a lawful court order? That was the $1 million question, and good enough, as an obedient law officer, as an obedient, as a loyal officer, a loyal Nigerian, he appealed because he has the right to appeal. Okay, yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, I will not agree that he's an obedient Nigerian.
No, he appealed. He has the right to appeal.
He has the right to appeal, yes. Sir. Let's be factual here. If you look at, this is my personal opinion.
Okay.
If you look at this EFCC of 18, that agency, the corruption they are fighting is selective fight.
We cannot justify.
It's my personal opinion, like I told you. Now, and again, sir, you know why? There are many people in this nation that have looted this nation. They leave them and they are chasing after children on the street. I'm telling you. It's just the gospel truth. That, yes, it is right for him to appeal. But the truth of the matter is that he was taken unaware. He never believed that such a judgment can never happen. You get me, sir? For me, I'm not with that notion that he took a plea based, he took a plea based as obedient person. No, he did it because that is his right. Not because to me that this person is very obedient. Most of these people's, Most of these people that are leading or that are heading this agency fighting corruption, they know what they are doing. They are fighting selective. They are doing selective fight. It's just the truth. We can see. We have eyes. We know what is happening. If they are really fighting, a lot of people, can I tell you now, there are so many people in this government that are not even, they are not the president, for example, who have immunity. They are not the governor who have immunity. That are in the government, federal government, that are part of those who are problem to us, who have siphoned money, who have been giving contract. How many of them are we seeing that are in court? Apart from few who are not in their good book. Somebody said, a chairman of a party, a former chairman of a political party said, if you join our party, your sins are forgiven. Just like that.
Is his personal opinion?
Sir, it's not just his personal opinion. At that time, his voice was a strong one. It was a mighty voice. Listen, his voice can influence that agency because they are in government at that time. Even till now, they are government in power. Are you getting what I'm saying, sir?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Dr. Elvis Agbodahimba. Like I said, we're going to allow you make calls, but that will be later on the show. But let me give you the background again regarding the EFCC chairman who was also sentenced. That sentence was actually done 9th of November 2022, and Abuja High Court sitting at Maitama ordered that chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mr. Abdurrashid Bawa, be remanded in prison, prison custody following alleged disobedience to a valid court order. So once we say remanded, that means to prison. So these are wonderful times. These are very interesting times. And don't forget that we've seen cases where the court have decided the fate of those who occupy public office. Now, after primaries of political parties, they have to resort to courts to settle their differences. Now, sometimes after governorship elections, they have to resort to courts to get the final verdict. Sometimes they move as far as the Supreme Court, who is the final arbiter. And once the Supreme Court rules or gives a ruling on a case, is final. You cannot appeal it. So it's just like what is happening in Osun State. The governor has been sworn in as governor of Osun. Oyetola is still in court, challenging his defeat. He believes that he will return by the power of the court, but that definitely will get to the Supreme Court. So, Dr. Now, the independence of the judiciary will guarantee proper democracy, don't you think so?
Very well.
Yes.
You know, this is a very important area that we Nigeria and all the well-meaning Nigerians should clamor for. Because the other day we were here and I said, a situation whereby who become the chief judge of the state has an influence, you know, the governor of the state has an influence on him or her. There's going to be a lot of judgment that will reflect it. A situation whereby who become the Supreme Court judge has to do, has the executive have influence on who become the judges of state, Supreme Court judges, and all that. And not only that, in terms of their take home, I think for me and for many of us, the judiciary should be on their own so that they can operate freely. Because that's why you notice over the years that many court judgments, were being affected For example, now, there are so many judges or courts who do not even have a good vehicle. There are many judges in so many. In short, the judge should be independent of himself.
That's why we have a separation of power.
We say separation of power, but if you go into detail, they are not really separated fully. For example, now, talking about allocation that goes to the judiciary, if it's not approved by the executive, there's a problem. You get it now. The executive still have a lot of influence on the judiciary, and that's why many judges, judges of different jurisdiction, sometimes they have issue. Mostly when they are not in the good book of the executive, the governor, the president. You get it now. Except for the one that that are very bold. Not all of them are bold. Many of them are afraid, because if you don't try to allow yourself to be burned, they might have a way to error you. Sometimes they can make sure that whatever you are receiving, all your allowances, everything, they will delay it. They will starve you. They will starve your office. In order for you not to be starved as a judge, as a chief judge, sometimes you try to bend.
That is another issue we cannot justify on the program.
No, sir. It's my personal opinion. But we can see the judges, they are trying. It's not easy with them. You get it now. Now, I think we Nigerians should really clamor for independent, truly independent judiciary, so that they can be able to operate freely. They shouldn't be going to the executive for anything. Because if that happens, a lot of politicians will be in trouble. They'll be running. Many of them will retire from politics. It is true. Because when you know that because of the office you occupy as a governor, as a president, you can just influence the Supreme Court, all the judges and all that, you are bold. But when you know that it is not how you want it, the law, that you cannot influence them, that there is nothing. If you speak and they decide to follow the law, they will not suffer anything, nothing to lose. You be careful. You get it down. It's just the truth.
Okay.
The independence of the judiciary is something that we must fight for.
I agree with you. The independence, the separation of powers must be well defined. The executive, the legislature, the judiciary, these are three arms of government in any democracy or in any democratic practice.
I want to ask you, sir, sorry. The law, we talked about separation of power. Now, the vehicle that those judges are using, who approve it?
Okay, we'll find out. We'll find out from the judiciary. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is 60 Minutes Nigeria, and I hope you're following the discussion. I hope you are enjoying your 60 minutes with us. Or if you are just joining us, you enjoy part of your 60 minutes with us. But just joining us in the studio, we'll be introducing him after this break. He's a legal practitioner, a notary public, a highly respected lawyer. He's into several organizations, law organizations. Barrister Patrick Isekwene will be joining us and will be giving the legal perspective to this discussion. And we're going to allow you to also make your phone in during this program. Once again, the number is 070-8365-1320. We're going to allow you to make calls after the break when Barrister Isekwene will be on set. Enjoy watching. Okay, nice to have you. It is 60 Minutes Nigeria, and I hope you are enjoying the program. Just joining us is a legal practitioner, a notary public, Barrister Patrick Isekwene. Nice to have you on the program.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, we are looking we're looking at the pivotal role of courts in democratic governance, and of interest was the recent court judgments the sentencing of the IGP to 3 months imprisonment, which of course the IGP has cleared the air that that incident happened in 2011 when he was not IGP, that he's not even aware that there's a dismissed police officer that has been asked to be reinstated. We also looked at the EFCC chairman who was also sentenced and he appealed. And just, we have a trending news now of the Chief of Staff, Chief of Army Staff. The court also ordering his arrest and imprisonment. Now, is the Nigerian courts, the judiciary seem to be awake or otherwise? What is the situation?
What you're hearing as the issue of the arrest and committal of the IGP to prison, even the Farouk and the one commander, one also I saw heard. You see, all this is news. It has been like that. It has been on. It's not the first time the court will not pronounce for that. You know. So, but the only thing is that when you have such a pronouncement, it's more or less an advice. It's not being carried out. Now, when you go and commit IG of a police to a prison, who is going to carry out the order? Because nobody. There's no policeman that will do that. Your own boss. Nobody. Or the chief of army staff. Who? No. So that in a country where people are attached to democracy, where you have respect for democracy, it's simple. Once it's pronounced, you carry out to the latter. All you need to do is that, because you know that the police are under executive, the commander-in-chief of army, or everybody is overall. If the president should be held liable for the executive rascality or for this top body, the IGP of police, and the chief of army staff. Who is responsible? Is the president who's commander-in-chief. There's not a report to him. You have to agree on that. I could remember when the Onogore want to move. It was a motionless party from not even inside open court. In chambers, the motion was moved by the Attorney General, they just run as I just it. Immediately was submitted to the Buhari. So the Buhari just made an announcement based on the order of the court, moving the CJ. That's how it's called. They are quickly, that this one again, release of the match. So the president will be held liable. And even if the head liable, and you believe the man said, if he say, we're not holding liable. Who is to do that? Who will go? You should go your senator. Both the lower camera and the higher camera. I mean, the Senate and the House of Reps. Keep it liable. It's not unacceptable offense of the president. Because the judge has given his judgments, he's not expecting to carry on. They have done so. He is not going to carry out the order. He's executive. So, which is the police to do that? So, which police they have now said they have kept them? The commander-in-chief ought to have done that. We should have to do what is the president. Not to have done his job, because he took a vote when he was sworn in to the Constitution. The role is the judges are playing is a constitutional role. Based on our Constitution. So, a court cannot give an order, it keep on hanging. Because from all I know is that when a judgment is given, an order is made by a God, it's right, that is bound to all principalities. Everybody, including witches and wizards, everybody is bound by the court order. You are bound to. You cannot say, because the prime minister said, I was not there, I was not aware, I was not in service when the order was given. The order of us is meant to be obeyed. Whether or not, that's what it is contempt. Contempt of court can be done in two ways, infrastructure Korea and extrastructure Korea. There's a contempt outside court, that's infrastructure Korea, and there's one inside court, infrastructure Korea. The judge is given this power to exercise it. So it cannot be saying because it's an order of the court. That which they ought to have now report to the president, who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He controls all of them. The IGP, who is the appointed? It's not the president. He can be hired and fired at any second. They have room to do anything. If the president refuses to act, the Senate, I expect them by now to do the needful. Because by the way we're going, democracy is in a drain. We're in a precarious pedestal, whereby the arms of government now, they are behaving as if they are above the law, all of them. We're in problem. That is not democracy. In a democracy, we operate by Section 14. You know, we have put it severally. Yes. That the democracy we have today is not by one power. It's a creation of the Constitution based on Section 14. I made it clear. We made it clear that Nigeria shall be a country based on democracy and social justice. That's why we have democracy. And by democracy, the time of Section 14, the government also made it clear that it must be obeyed by all arms of government. No government is superior to one another. Whether you are executive, whether you are legislative, whether you are judiciary, you are equal. But what do we see? Executive government trying to play the role of judiciary interfering. Who is the executive government to interfere over judiciary? Are you a member of judiciary? Then the chief judge or the IG will play role. If you go to read the constitution, the chief judge or the chief judge of the nation has not business with the executive. You may think you are in different palace, with different kingdom. You can punish you when needed. Not that you play about monetary term. You need money. You're discussing money, and the judiciary will discuss money with the executive arm of government. Because judicial arm of government is not way for you. Not issue of making money. You are one job to sanitize the society. That's what you are there for. Not because you need money from the government. You need money to start playing. No, you don't need it. Is it not what you are meant for? It's to sanitize. It's a taboo to even discuss the issue of money with the executive arm of government. But you don't parley with them because you are a different arm of government. You have your independent. They're not part of them. So for a governor telling you this or doing that, it means you don't know the office you are holding and you're below to your office. A chief, the equal, the three arms of government are equal. No one is superior, no one is smaller. You have different role to play. You cannot say because the governor will have his way interfering into over executive, over judiciary matter. It's a taboo in the country where the Puma has been affected to democracy. So it's a very sad situation we find ourselves.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Sekone. Very, very emotional. Okay, we are going to allow viewers to contribute to today's discussion. I've always maintained on this program that I have respect for Professor Wole Soyinka. I love his write-ups. As a young man, I used to mimic and emulate his literary works as a literature student that time. But the point is this: he described Nigerian democracy as a voodoo democracy. Well, I don't know, but I think that Nigerians can interpret that better. Are we practicing democracy that is obtainable around the world? Or have we been cajoled into the cocoon of Professor Wole Soyinka's voodoo democracy? So let's take calls now. You can contribute to the program. And yes, we have some callers now. Once we get your calls, we'll allow you to make your comments so that you can be part and Nigerians are listening. Okay, we have a caller now. I'll just take this. I hope I'm not okay. What's your name?
Hello, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon. Please tell us your name and make your contribution.
My name is Honorable Kesta Odidi, sir.
Okay, please go on.
Yeah, actually, it's the right time for us to call at this moment, and this is the first time we are calling on this 60 minutes.
And you are the first person. I think you deserve an award. The first caller on the maiden edition of 60 Minutes Nigeria. Please, your name again.
Kesta Odidi.
Kesta Odidi. Congratulations. Please go on.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, actually, I think our government has given so much power to the legislative act of government, which makes them untouchable. And that means that, like what my barrister over there is saying,
Yes.
I think there are a lot of things that doesn't concern the government, that concern the legislative arm, which is the lawyers. But they are so influential that they don't even have their say in some cases. Which means the power being given to some arms of government, like that means even the government, that the governors in the country can sit on the ground saying that they don't want to conduct some election, like a local government election, and that will just go free for them. So I think like this one we are seeing now, for an IG to be sentenced to prison for 3 months for some kind of issue, I think it's a good news to the lawyers.
Yes.
That's because the believe that we are really practicing democracy.
Okay.
Because everybody believes that we have people that are above power
Yes.
in this country, above the law.
Yes.
You can't do them anything when they are on seat. Even when they elect the seat. Like the other gentleman said, come to my party, you are safe. It's happening in this country. You understand? And which means what we are seeing now, I think they have to give kudos to the lawyers that are doing their job now. They are given the right to do their job. And they should be separated. Their opinion should be separated from the arms of government.
Okay.
Which makes them to decide for themselves. Because they call themselves learned think that's a little contribution to say, I love what we've been hearing for about 2 days now, because that will make everybody to know that nobody is above government, nobody is above the law. If you do anything, even when you are on the field, remember you will leave that field.
Yes.
And the judgment must definitely pass on you when you leave that field, because you are not going to be there forever.
Exactly.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Kesta Odidi, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Kesta Odidi, thank you very much. We just listened to Kesta Odidi, and I must say that his contributions very, very wonderful. He talked about executive rascality, that some governors in certain states they just do what they like without adhering to the constitution of the country, and he says that is wrong. And he also talked about the sentencing of the IGP, that it is an indication that Nigerian democracy is evolving, and that as a Nigerian, he is glad to hear that. So we are going to allow more callers now. We know that other persons are also waiting to make their calls. So you can make your calls and come. Okay, we have a caller now. Okay, we have a caller. Please introduce yourself and make your contribution to 60 Minutes Nigeria. Yes, good afternoon. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Raymond. I'm calling from St. Xavier, here in Benin City.
Okay, Raymond, you are welcome to the show, 60 Minutes Nigeria.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to commend the judiciary for the judgment.
Okay.
And another thing is, when a judgment is being made, it's another thing for them to enforce it. Nigerians, we have the best law. Enforcement is our problem. Now, who is going to enforce this law? How do you think that this law will be enforced? Because the people that are supposed to enforce this law is already divorced. There is no way an IG of the country will tell me that he is not aware. This is the popular language of this officer. He will just tell you that they are not aware.
And ignorance is not an excuse in law, barrister.
That's true.
Yes.
Okay, please go on.
That's true.
Go on.
So, this issue of I'm not aware, somebody must be promised from this statement. Something that happened in 2011, somebody that has not been taken to 2011, because they went to court, definitely not the president of the person too. For the past 12 years now, if I'm not mistaken, or 11 years.
Yes.
Now, according to your turn as the IG, you are supposed to know what has been happening between your two men. We are not talking of another place now. So, for me, the IG has no reason to say it's not aware. He's desperately and intentionally touching these things, and God knows that ignorance is not our excuse in law. He should be meant to be responsible for the offense that was committed by this professor. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Kesta. Thank you. Kesta calling right here, St. Xavier area of Benin City, and he has said there's need for enforcement. But I must say something. Dr. Elvis Agbonahima made a comment, and I've been thinking about it. He said why the IGP was, since the IGP has been sentenced to imprisonment, he should have gone there to relax. I didn't know they relaxed in the prison. I thought people are running away from the prison.
Other people that they are human beings.
Okay.
They are human beings. You know, like I said when I was talking that time,
yes.
I said he cannot, I will not agree with you that he was not aware, because he has been in the system.
Yes.
For him to be an IG, number one, person, the number one man, yes. The leader of such an agency, you have been in the system, you now tell us that you are not aware. I will not believe that. He just like what I've been having before, just ignore it, doesn't matter. And thank God things are changing.
Please, let's take this caller now. We have this caller. Please, can you introduce yourself and where are you calling from?
Hello, I'm calling from Igbanke.
Oh, Igbanke. Please, what's your name?
Pastor Chris.
Okay, Pastor Chris from Igbanke. Thank you for being part of 60 Minutes Nigeria. Can you make your comments now?
Yes. Instead of speaking with the IG.
Yes, this is 60 Minutes Nigeria program.
Yes, my comment is that the three arms of government work together.
Okay.
And there's no one that's above one another. How do I mean? The legislator makes the deal, the executive signs the deal. Why did the judiciary implement the deal? And so if the judiciary now, who who is now implementing the law, and the law now grabs onto the bigger man there in the office, at least he must first of all obey that law by going to jail first before appealing. Because the same court is now causing contradiction. It is the appeal court and the Supreme Court that is causing this confusion. A lower court has already given a verdict.
Yes.
They would have told him first of all go to jail and then answer that call first, like the way they told the asked you to go and answer the call.
Yes.
So that's how the man would have gone to answer the call by going to jail. Then from jail now he will not be appealing. That is how the thing goes. But my prayer is that we should have a very good leader, because the defense lies on the leader's hand. The president is there and these judges are, these cases are there. It is the president that would have told the man that they appointed to go back to jail and obey the law of the land.
Okay.
It is not the law of the judiciary.
Yes.
It's the law of the land.
Yes.
And the man must obey.
Yes.
Because if it's Pastor Chris now, that policeman, if the court has given him to go and arrest Pastor Chris, the policeman, that IG would have gone immediately. And before I say let me go and feel it, we say first of all answer the law.
Yes.
So
They will collect your handset. They will collect your handset. And they don't make calls.
Yes, I'm calling from Momo like Banker.
Thank you very much, Pastor Chris. Thank you. Thank you. That's Pastor Chris from Big Banker. He said, now, an ordinary Nigerian, if court pronounces judgment, that person will be arrested immediately and asked to obey court ruling first. Now, Barrister Patrick Isekwene, you heard Pastor Chris from Igbanke, and he said that whoever is being sentenced should have gone to prison first before appeal. Is that right?
Well,
You have to explain that.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work that way,
Okay.
because it depends. That is subjective to what's available, because sometimes we have the right of appeal.
Okay.
You can file a state of execution before the higher body, then send to the lower court. Please stay execution pending my appeal. Different. God can grant you.
Okay.
Yes, just like the case of Kanu, you are aware of the appropriate man. Court cleared him. They should be released. He should be freed. By the DSA should release him. Let him go over the show charges. But today, he's still being held. Yes, don't be surprised that court might order counter charge against the DSS for not obeying his order. But I will know whether there's, because I'm not in the matter, to know whether they fight for a state of execution. That once that one is done, it can still be hanging. Let him appeal. Because this is an issue of rights, and issue all these courts are creation of the Constitution.
Okay.
When you talk about federal court, court of appeal, all these Supreme Courts,
Yeah.
all the courts have been to
Let's take
play.
this call. Okay, let's take this call. Good afternoon. Please
Good
introduce
afternoon.
yourself. And
This
where are you calling
advocate, I'm
from?
calling from Igwebe.
Okay, we have a call from Igwebe. What's your name, please?
Advocate, I'm advocate, calling from Igwebe.
Okay, please, go on.
Yeah, my concern is really all the
Hello? Go on.
who enforce the law. That is the issue. He cannot claim ignorance because before the court pass verdict, they diligently follow the process. Because it's an institution, it's a system. He cannot claim that he's not aware. That is out of it completely. The issue now is who will now enforce the law since they are the people to enforce the law. That is my question.
Thank you very much. Our caller from Igwebe. His own problem now is who will enforce the law. I think the barrister talked about that in his opening remark, that you sentence the IGP. Who is going to enforce it? Who is going to be the IGP and say, sir, the court sentenced you to prison. I'm here to come. So that's on the lighter side. But I think the import of what my callers have made is that there must be obedience to the courts of the land. The judgment of the court is sacrosanct. But like the barrister said, you can appeal, you can file instead of an execution. There are other channels, but you must obey the court. That's why I commended the EFCC chairman initially, that he told Nigeria that he has appealed. You know. So your closing remarks, Barrister Sekwene, closing remarks.
Yes, okay. I think I expect the three hours of government to work harmony.
Okay.
Because they are creation of the Constitution, they are all equal, no one is superior to the other. They should maintain their territories. You going trespassing on that house of government is a tantamount to cause a problem to the country democracy. Okay. That's not democracy. In democracy, we must adhere to full rule of separation of powers. Okay. If we adhere to the full rules of separation of powers, we have a good democracy, a refined democracy.
Okay, Dr. Apostle Elvis Agbodaima, your closing remarks.
For me, the judiciary should be applauded. Okay. And so that they will be encouraged. And I want to tell the judiciary that we need more of this judgment, so that Nigeria system will be sanitized, so that everybody in Nigeria will know that nobody is above the law. Okay,
so we'll just take this last caller. This last caller down. Hello, hello, are you with me? Hello. Okay, we just lost that. Okay. Let's just take this one now. Okay, we're having an issue. I just want to take the last caller on the show. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the program. Okay, we have this last caller now. Hello, can you introduce yourself? Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. Go on.
Good afternoon, Mr. Egusa.
Yes, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This Omobey.
Okay, Omobey. Nice to have you. Okay, from Uselu.
Yeah. This is a new development to our democracy.
Okay.
If this is only something that Muhammad Buhari will achieve, it's a plus to him. Okay. Unlike before, if such case in the court, they will never listen to such case. One thing is that if this master the gate sense, now he will become an ex-convict. Will he resume an office? According to law, an ex-convict will never start the public office. Yes. I want Mr. Barrister to answer that question.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that you are the last caller on the show. Thank you. Please quickly answer that, Barrister.
No, this issue of like for me, like it's not I say one of my remark that it's a stain, it's not new. You are aware when Bamman EFCC man was how many times when he was in office committed to never obeyed court order, never obeyed court. You said Bamman EFCC, you still remember. That's the point. I mean that there was he never obeyed. They not obey, and nothing will happen to them. But what I'm trying to say is that if the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, has sincerity of purpose, he would have ordered for this man to be sent to jail. He is the appointer. He is in charge. Okay. But nothing done. You look at see, we tell you I'm not aware. I'm an ignorant of the law, is not an excuse. Ignorant did not excuse that. You can't say that I'm not aware. That's not an excuse. I don't know what the court have not been obeyed.
Thank you very much, Barrister Sekene. You've made your closing remarks. I just wanted you to answer, to give answers to the question of our caller, because we hold our viewer in high esteem. Thanks for your support for 60 Minutes Nigeria Current Affairs program. Every week we are here to discuss topical issues that affect the country. On today's edition, Dr. Apostle Elvis Agbodaima has been very eloquent. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
For being a part of being here before the program. Barrister had some hitches, but was able to surmount them. Thank you, Barrister Patrick, for making it on the show.
Thank you.
My name is Egosa Agbola. Do have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.